So I have say presentation hat. I do that. Okay. And now once you want your hat, you right click edit. Edit, yeah. And now I get the presentation slides. Okay. Fresh. Any content and there's no card calling the review. Yeah. That's fine. And reset the scripts. Okay. Set. Done. Now what? I did that. Copy the no current line numbers in there. Oops, I changed it. Okay, I did change it. What I did was I deleted the one that was there and I changed it for my one. So that doesn't work probably because I changed the name. So I need to do it again. What's the name? No card collect. Okay, rename. And then refresh, reset. Okay. Now you click one of the black boxes in the HUD. Should be able to be. This is closed. Come closer to the screen. I see the HUD. I am in edit mode. I rename the card. It have the note cards, but I cannot get the images coming into the content. So should I?
Sorry, say again. You can cut what?
The slides. Okay, now something.
You need to click the HUD, not the screen.
Okay, now it's there. Okay.
There you go. Nice.
Great. And how
Awesome.
do I do the speak easy now?
It's okay. Let me worry about that. I will do that.
Okay.
Otherwise, I fear you will be running out of time.
Okay, so we do then the slice. Okay.
Yeah, you go ahead and talk. I will do the. I will use the speakeasy.
Okay. Yeah, it's because I have a bit of text there, so let me see if I find it, because that was my note where I have that. Presentation, no cards. Just 1 second. Presentation is live discussion. Yeah, here. So I have that here. Okay, so let's see if we can start. Guys, we close Zoom. Yeah. Okay. So I probably move to the, just 1 second, sorry. Okay, I think we're ready. So, hello everyone. Just checking, can everybody hear me? Is sound okay? Yes, okay, thank you. So, hello everyone. We are delighted to be part of this event. This is the first year that we are participating, and we appreciate very much that you are attending our session. So this is a roundtable discussion where we will reflect on the importance of pedagogy, the main implications in terms of learning, teaching, and research activities, and we will offer a critical view. Our discussions will also look into our own experiences, and we would like to encourage active participation. So if you want to ask questions, if you want to interact with us, you can do it. As we go along, there is no need to wait. So first of all, I'd like to introduce you to our panelists. So we have TallNinja with us today. So TallNinja, please, could you introduce yourself?
So hello everyone, I hope you can hear me. So I am TallNinja. I am a PhD student in TU Dublin. So I am here as part of the panel to share my experience as being both a student and a teacher and using the platform and showcasing research. Thank you very much, Lucia.
Thank you, Abrar. So now we also have with us Roa. Roa, can you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, thank you. I'm Roa. I'm working in the university as assistant professor, and before joining academia, I used to work in the special education field, especially with children with autism and other difficulties and neurodiversity condition. Thank you.
Thank you, Roa. So finally, my name is Lucia Morales. I'm a PhD in economics. Here in Second Life, my name is Cerium Solas. I'm from Technological University of Dublin and also the European University of Technology. I think like I'm supposed to be an economist, and I also am supposed to act like one. However, the reality is that my profile is quite mixed. It's kind of defined by different areas of interest, and curiosity is a major driver for me. I like to ask a lot of questions, and that can be very annoying. So it's again a process of learning that I think is not defined by a discipline, but where your discipline or your areas of expertise also have significant influence. So let's start with some questions that we have for you. So we would like to know if you think that we need new pedagogies. So if you want to use your microphone or type, we would like to hear from you. Abrar, what do you think? So Val is saying that yes, we need new pedagogies for our digital culture. So Leah, what do you think?
Definitely yes. We need new pedagogies. From my point of view, I forgot to tell you that I'm from Romania, Technical University of Cluj-Napoca, And having this discussion in a multicultural environment, I think it is very, very important and relevant for pedagogies and for pedagogy, because basically every teacher are building their own pedagogy based on the culture in which he was trained or educated. But in our days, considering this space, metaverse, we have to develop a new way of being. As we know that global citizenship, I think, can be reached quite easily through this kind of environments. So in this regard, definitely, I think we need new pedagogies, because we need to unlearn and relearn all the way in which we can collaborate in a multicultural environment. And of course, in the world in which we have to face a lot of challenges, and all those challenges are interconnected. So all of us, basically, we are interconnected. That's why I think we need to find a common language regarding pedagogy and how can we educate better. Thank you.
Thank you, Leah. So Bali is saying that we spend more and more time online, and yes, that means that we have to consider how we learn, how we teach, and how we assess those learning processes and how we interact. So this brings us to another question. So do you think that we have enough learning, teaching, and assessment theories studies, or do we need to look into different perspective again? So we love to hear from you. And now, Abrar, what do you think? I think that probably Abrar might not be able to
Sorry, yes. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, so we're talking about that. Do we need more studies that look into how we teach, how we learn, how we assess, or do we have plenty of them?
Oh, definitely, we need to step up in using this innovative technology and study it more on how it will impact our current and future ways of teaching. I do believe that we do need to continue what we're doing, but stepping it up to incorporate more technology that will transform the way we teach or the way we learn and take it to a wider audience, or what the audience learning approaches are changing with time, and it's quite fast, so we need to keep up with those changes. So I do believe that more research and more work need to be done to understand more how can we impact, or how can we create that greater impact on our learners and also on our teachers.
Thank you so much. So we have our presentation is about innovative pedagogies, and we have a question mark. So why do we need them? And we're back to this element of do we need more theories, more studies? Is this something that is related to academia? Is this something that we can somehow use and that can help us in terms of the way that we will progress, the way that our students, that our processes adjust? So we have to be looking now into education. So for us, we are a research team that is part of the European University of Technology, and we are bringing together different disciplines and different way of thinking. And our perspective looks into education as the umbrella. We think that education brings together different processes, and through education we can articulate different dimensions that can help us to keep adjusting and navigating all the challenges that we are facing now as the technology progresses fast, as we see as well major changes in terms of our environment, our economic systems, political systems, and especially the role of society. So for us, education is not a static process. And our reflection will start with an example that Abrar will give us. So from this point of view, is education is dynamic, it changes, it evolves, it is messy, and it's interesting. So we need to start considering education from this lens. It cannot be rigid, it cannot be subject to kind of a structure that does not evolve with the learner needs. So let's reflect with Abrar on the work that she is doing in the metaverse. Abrar?
So thank you very much, Lucia. So today I'm excited to present how did I use Second Life as a platform and how that represent the circular pedagogy, and how could virtual reality for sustainable development of education could be achieved. So by using the virtual world that I did showcase my research that focus on SDG 11, so sustainable cities and communities. Our project objective is to revolutionize how we educate people about the urban sustainable through an interactive virtual environment. Next slide, please. So what makes our platform unique, or how could we create that area to make it more engaging? So we have created a dynamic virtual reality space that brings sustainable development principles to life by immersive experience. Users can explore three key components. So first, we have incorporated sustainable buildings and green infrastructures that users can explore firsthand. So second, we have designed interactive urban parks and communities. So I'm sorry, Lucia, I'm still on the previous slide. Yes, thank you. So we're using the parks and urban communities gardens, and we also used have engaging audience with renewable energy system that empowers our virtual city. So this isn't just a passive learning experience, it's a hand-on virtual journey where users can interact with elements like solar panels and waterfront development and so on. So next slide, please. Thank you. So the educational impact of using Second Lab as platform is transformative in three ways. So students could engage with urban sustainability concepts that give them a first-hand experience. They will develop critical thinking, analyzing real-life scenarios where they have put themselves into problem-solving scenarios. And most importantly, our virtual reality platform breaks down the barriers to make SDGs learning globally more accessible. So what we are, so next please, yeah. So what sets our approaches apart from our integration of circular pedagogy with VR technology or virtual reality technology? So our platform that we used, we believe that it's created that dynamic, inclusive, and participatory learning environment where we give a role to each learner and each teacher. We have given the leverage of advanced technology in transforming that way of learning, including the technologies in virtual reality, and how can we use that to adapt our learning experience. So we did create, so the real power of this platform is to showcase our research. So what we had done there is that we used our knowledge of using this platform to create research and make it more engaging in real life. Now it's the other way around, where we took our experience in VR immersive learning and reflect on that with our other educators and other researchers. So each one of us took a role and reflect on their roles as educators and as students, and how to achieve that circular pedagogy. Next, please. Yeah. So again, so the real power of using this platform lies in the ability of fostering the collaboration and co-create while enabling students to interact with multicultural or parallel settings that runs at the same time, different words, different time zones. This creates not just a learning platform, but also a comprehensive educational system that promote understanding different ways of learning. Next slide, please. So it's crucial that we prioritize sustainable education. So we used Second Life to showcase and represent the future of sustainability in education by combining immersive technology with education innovation. We have created more engaging and effective way to teach sustainable urban development in my case. So let's continue to prioritize sustainable education and transform how could the future generation learn about creating sustainable cities and communities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Abrar. So this brings us to the concepts that we were kind of mentioning in terms of how we go around our own learning process. It can be very confusing, it can be overwhelming, it can bring different challenges depending again on how you are interacting with requirements when you are trying to meet expectations from the teachers. It can be frustrating when we're trying to progress and we might not have the guidelines. It can be again confusing as we navigate what we need to learn to complete maybe a degree, or what we need to learn in order to be able to function effectively in a society that it's more and more demanding regarding the volumes of information, the role that technology play, and the implications that it has for all of us. So we need to find our way. And in this kind of journey, we have more questions for you. How do we do this? Who guide us? And what is the way forward? Leah, do you have some insights on this?
Yes, thank you, Lucia. What can I say is that after some studies in pedagogical field and psychological field as well, I think we have a good start. But definitely we need to identify all those elements that were developed in different conditions and different contexts and different times, and see how can we use those elements in our context, in our daily life, let's say, and with this kind of technologies. Thank you.
Thank you, Leah. Abrar, what would you say about finding your own way in the learning process?
Definitely, I believe that everyone needs a guide into finding their way, but nowadays I think it's even easier to seek your way into learning or into education. And then maybe each different learner and teacher have their own style in creating their experience. But I do believe that we come back to fundamentals and principles and guide us through our learning ways, then take it from there and use whatever technology that's available in finding our ways in teaching and learning.
Thank you. So in my case, I will like to compare the way that we learn to a maze. So we need to find how we are going to progress. And this is not easy because learning is individual, but it's also collective. Learning shapes, it transforms, it reshapes. And if you do it in isolation, it takes more time. If you do it with collaboration, it leads as well to conflicts, lack of understanding, potential cultural barriers, language barriers, depending of your scenario, if you are into intercultural learning frameworks. So there are many conflicts or frictions that might emerge. But we also need to consider that our learning process is engaging. It's looking into how we learn, we relearned, and many doors will open, but many doors will also close, and it's very, very easy to get lost. And me personally, I get lost quite easily. And we can see here in this slide, like, are we then on our own? And what happened when we get stuck? What happened when we try to reach out and we don't get the supports that we need? How we navigate all these processes, because it can have significant implications in terms of how we keep going and how we keep developing the skills that are necessary. And as we mentioned before, not only to pass maybe an exam or to complete an assignment is also critical in terms of how we get skills from what we're learning that we can apply in our daily life. So we have this process of continuous change, transformation, disruption, and this image at the moment with a waterfall, it shows the complexity of the process. We think that as we move forward, this process becomes very tangled, and it brings again different concepts with different interactions, and all of them form part of our learning corridors or pathways. So this image that you have here doesn't imply that we will find a straight line after we have all this messiness. What it means is we will find moments where we have that clarity, we can continue building on it, but this will be a feeding process. We will have to restart, we will have to redefine, and that's why we are working at present in our idea of the pathways, the corridors of knowledge. Leah, do you have any insight into this idea?
Yes, I totally agree with what you said. I think learning it's a very personal process. We know that we are learning based on our past experience and past, let's say, interaction with the environment. And at this moment, I think we have great opportunity to build different way in which we can co-create knowledge and boost the learning process, hopefully in a sustainable way.
Thank you, Leah. Abrar, could you share some insights on how you think your learning process has evolved since you started your educational process, and where are you at the moment?
So I've started my educational process as a student, then I moved to a lecturer role or an educator role. So I believe that within the circular pedagogy, my experience actually reflects circular pedagogy in a way that I believe that circular pedagogy represents a dynamic education approach where learners, educators, and researchers in a fluid, dynamic way, they can exchange roles. So what happens with my experience that I switch from being a researcher into a student, then back to being an educator and so on. So that created an inclusive and collaborative learning environment that for my experience that breaks down the traditional participation barrier. So by reducing those barriers and by creating that dynamic, inclusive learning environment where learners, as I was one of them, and educators when I became one, can easily exchange roles or switch from one role to another. So this module, or the circular pedagogy, and the use of virtual reality or the use of technology in learning or in teaching, this could leverage the technology to create adaptable learning experience. So what might work for me will not work for someone else. But in my own experience, that actually gave me the freedom to choose or to switch between these roles and to be able to circulate between different roles actually opened a different pathway of learning for me that empowered me as an educator and as a learner into how to use and embrace my role into creating culture diversity. For others example, when I was a teacher, that I will make sure that I include every learner or their experience in learning and how to impact that, how to reflect my own experience as a student and putting myself in their own shoes and what would I want to expect from myself as a teacher to deliver. So that circle pedagogy is a great approach to experience all three roles that I did take, which is an educator, researcher, and a student in one place.
Thank you, Abrar. So, Abrar is referring to an innovative pedagogy that our team have developed. We're working on it since 2022. So, Leah, could you offer some insights on how we started this process?
Yes, it was not so long time ago since we met, basically through a collaboration environment. We worked together in a European project. So I met Lucia, and we started to exchange, and another colleagues from different university, and we started to exchange ideas and concern and worries and wishes about how can we improve educational process and the way in which we are teaching. So at that time, in a truly collaborate process, we develop a framework, basically the base of a new approach or an alternative approach in the classroom, which we name circular pedagogy. What means circular pedagogy? Circular pedagogy is based on the fact that teachers are aware of the fact that they are not teaching only content. When we are going in our classroom, we are teaching way of learning as well. We are teaching a way of how we can use knowledge, and we are teaching as well our values and beliefs and attitudes. So having in mind the fact that in this context we are living in a super complex environment from all points of view, we all agree the fact that we need to learn during all our lives, no matter the role in which we are. If we are a teacher, we need to teach, but to learn as well. And due to the fact that we are working in academia, we need to put in practice that kind of education that is based on evidence-based, that is based on research. So we need to integrate the research element as well. On the other hand, we realize that the students are not that traditional as they used to be. And we have a lot of things to learn from them. And we need to put them in the front of everything, to say so. So that's why we consider that during educational process, all of us, we are, and we have to be in the interchangeable roles. Sometimes we are teachers, educators, sometimes we need to learn, so we are learners, and sometimes we are researchers. And the only way in which we can, we probably can offer a sustainable future of education is to try to co-create knowledge together with other colleagues from different disciplines, and of course together with the students as equal partners in learning process and learning journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Leah. So what we're discussing at the moment is the complexity. So Leah mentioned super complexity. This is a concept that was introduced in 2000 by a researcher and we have integrated as part of our working framework. Then we look back at the pillars that at the moment are being considered in this sustainability agenda that bring together the economic pillar, the society or the social pillar, and the environmental pillar. And as Leah and Abrar were discussing, we come from different backgrounds and disciplines, and we come from different ways of thinking, different countries. different languages, and we communicate together. We engage into discussions that sometimes lead us to different pathways and to different considerations. And here, what we think is our learning process is subject to changes, is affected by transformation and distraction. We need to be aware on the importance of learned, relearned, but also unlearned. And we need to be open to criticism. In here, I will underline constructive criticism, because sometimes we receive kind of comments or suggestions or opinions that will be biased and that can shake the way that we also progress. To this extent is, again, learning, education, how we navigate all of this. So we're back to the idea of the corridors of knowledge, the different pathways, how they converge, and in which way we use them to be able to interact, to be able to discuss. So one example at the moment is you have educational disciplines, you have economics discipline, you have political science disciplines that we're trying to integrate within a collaborative learning framework. And Abrar, for example, is developing research that connects all those aspects. And that will be quite innovative, because from the doctoral perspective, we will be expected to be like very discipline specific, but we're challenging a little bit that framework, because it has become, as I mentioned at the beginning, static, and we believe this is dynamic. It has to change. And within our working context, we go towards the human connection. So in which way are we collaborating, engaging, open to others' opinions, open to criticism, disagreement? How can we engage with this process? And Leah will be a very supportive of this human connection. It always comes to our discussions. Leah, you want to offer some insights?
Yes. Yes, because I really think that this is the key element in what should be an educational process, sustainable education. We are used to refer to education when we are thinking about information transfer. For me, education, it's not only about information transfer. It's about human relationship, and I think this human relationship it's represent the core element in building new personalities and new characters. Because when we are going in our classrooms, as I said, we are not teaching only content, so we are not facilitating. Of course, we are facilitating information and good quality information, but also we are transferring our values and beliefs and attitudes, and the way in which we are treating the others basically represent a model for those in front of us. And probably, you know, we cannot learn from somebody in front of which we cannot, I don't know, feel comfortable and safe. That's why in order to change, to really change education, I think we need this dimension of connectivity and relationship between different educational agents, because again, in my opinion, this will make a difference in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Leah. Abrar, what would be your view in terms of the importance of human connection and how that impacts your learning process?
So I do agree with Leah that we need to keep connecting to each other and keep that connection between our learners, so that we don't lose ourselves into technology, or that we will, what other believes nowadays, that technology or artificial intelligence will take over the world now. But what I believe is that it will always be back at the teacher and the learner kind of relationship in learning. I do believe, highly believe that there is interconnect between their roles, that they learn from each other, and they, by not assuming that our learners are a white canvas that we can just paint our knowledge on, but rather than we learn from them, and while we give them that experience of learning, I do believe in that connection, that to bring back our learners back to the principle and fundamentals of learnings, and also in a way that we are also using technology in reaching that. So the human connection is always important, and it's always has its place in education. I For my personal experience, I don't see that yet we are at that point where we are able to replace human knowledge or replace human ways of learning and teaching. So starting from the first principles of learning, and are creating languages and creating knowledge in this world, to today's amount of innovation into technology and how advanced education have become, it's always back to the humans and the way they interact and how do they deliver that knowledge. And I believe that everyone is constantly learning, and everyone is constantly being a student in this life. So as I'll quote Oscar Wilde here when he said, "You can never be overdressed or over-educated." So I do believe that education has no limits, and so human connection has no limits in teaching each other. So that's my view in the connection and replacement of using technology in that.
Thank you, Abrar. So in here, I think that the role of the teacher or educator, how we interact with the students, how we allow them to engage into a process where they can also have an input. And we look now into the different levels that we have in the educational system, where we have the tendency to just be very prescriptive, telling students what to do and prevent them then to have that creativity. I reflect on my role as a research supervisor, and in which way I take the input and the insights that the students bring to the table, and how they want to have ownership of their own learning process. And as their supervisor, there is a need to have that flexibility, because research again is about moving forward. So we cannot keep anchor ourselves into past practices without looking at an environment that requires the skills, also the knowledge and the passion that the students bring into the process. So if we're not able to promote that, nurture it, then the research will not have that input that the researcher, the passionate students will be willing to develop. So we need to consider the importance of human connection and how it has changed as a result of technology and innovation. So we need to consider, in some instances, we are now engaging into a process that we might be surrounded by people, but we're not talking to each other. We are looking into our own devices. We're very immersed into these kind of technological landscape environment, but where are we leaving that human connection? Do we have a space for it? So are we losing it? Are we kind of starting to fade into a process that requires a different view, where technology definitely plays a role, and it will play a major role and will continue to do so, because our humanity have grown and developed based on technological progress. So that's how we keep advancing, we keep progressing. So for us is, do we need alternative approaches that allow us to bring back the role of education? And this is the concept that we have been discussing, the circular pedagogy element. So what it is, It's a process where the learner, the teacher, the educator, the students are interconnecting and are working together. We don't have a separation of roles. And my student will become my teacher when they have something that to share and that challenge me. My student also is a researcher because they have to find that knowledge, and I play in that role interchangeably too. So do we understand this connection? So can we bring that into the way that we are learning, the way that we're teaching, the way that we're doing research? So one element that we would like to highlight here is this idea that the teacher-centered approach it's kind of negative. It's somehow presented like it just deliver information. I think that we need to reconsider what is the role of the teacher, because from my practice, from my point of view, the teacher remains a core pillar in the whole process because he has to guide the students and he has to know when the process can take that student-centered approach that we have read quite a lot about. And this is stages. And this is again a process that evolve and take those different roles. Then we look carefully as well, where do we place education? Education is, for me personally, the umbrella is the umbrella that brings together learning, teaching, and research. And within teaching, again, what are we doing there to encourage and empower our students? In which way we are looking at the process, and in which way education is embracing disruptions, is embracing processes of change, and is enabling them to support learners. And here we have a major challenge. How are we looking into technology and how technology is helping us? So I like to ask Leah about her own view regarding pedagogy and the way that technology is pushing us towards new challenges and towards the alternative learning process.
Thank you. Yes, we are living incredible times, which are changing with incredible speed. And we have no other choice than adapt. That's why I think we should keep in mind the fact that education is pure human. We cannot educate a machine, for example. And even if there are some pressure regarding the fact that technology will take over teachers or human, I think when it comes, when we are talking about education, the main element represent the human dimension, and we do really need new technology in order to boost learning process and to find new ways to adapt to different challenging or difficult situation that will wait for us in the future, if I can say so. That's why, from pedagogical point of view, I think the main aspect that we have to consider, it's our attitude and our belief on what education should be in the future. As you said, having in mind that we are in the interchangeable roles, in which sometimes we are teachers, educators, sometimes we are learners, and sometimes researchers. Basically, we can use technology in such a way in which humanity will benefit. I don't think there is a problem with technology, but I do really think there is a problem with using technology. That's why education came in the in the first place to all discussion. So yes, we can use education, technology. We need new technologies, but we need to learn how can you use it in an ethical way, in which we will not damage the people, the environment, and the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Leah. So we are finalizing our panel discussion, and we would like to emphasize that our response to innovative pedagogies, that is the title of a presentation, is yes, we are indeed in need of innovative pedagogies. We have many challenges ahead, and we have these kind of idea that technology is going to overtake humans. We disagree with that perspective. We think that the level of changes and the speed of technology requires an alternative way to help us learning and navigate that increasing level of uncertainty. Our brains, our cognitive processes, the way that we engage and interact will help us to find the way around. So education can help us to find those paths, to find those corridors that connect to us, that connect to our colleagues, our friends, communities, connect to the people that we interact with, and where specific disciplines are necessary. It have a functionality in terms of labor market demands, but it also, education becomes a holistic process that is not limited to a classroom curriculum. It requires innovations, additional skills, so that we are able to move forward and that we're able to bring new ways of learning. So this is all from us. Thank you.